with you, myself, worked really hard to make this into a K-8, and we're not so willing to give it up, trust me. So let's give them a round of applause. One of you moms, can you please give me a t-shirt? He really wants that 6, 7, 8. Okay. So first I want to talk to you a little bit about the whole process of truncation. One thing you're going to know about me, transparent. So there's no way, shape, or form can the Department of Education wake up one day and say, we're taking the 6th grade out. It doesn't work that way. There's a whole process here. And the process begins with community engagement, and this is not a truncation meeting. Just that you know. Then when we finally, if we decide to do it with the community, we will slowly do this. We will never say 6, 7, and 8 get out. It's not how this operates. One will say from this year on, we must truncate, and those children have a chance to finish in the school that they started. So no child will be removed from this building. Perfectly clear. So now here's a win-win situation. So, as you know, PSIS 78, when we started this, we planned two classes on every grade. That's what we called for. Since 2009 to 2010, the kindergarten population in this zone has increased by 174%. In 2013-14, PS 78 began to service 4 sections of kindergarten with the intent to collapse 3 sections on the 1st grade. So that was last year. We decided that was the right thing to do. And I want to say clearly, the year before that, we sent the overflow children to PS 234. And once you go to another school building, you have a right to come back to your home school if you want. And I'm proud to say that some of our parents said, you know what, this 234 is doing a great job. I'm comfortable. My child's comfortable. We're staying here. So we were able to take everybody back the following year that wanted to come back. So this year, we need to open up 4 kindergarten classes to service everybody, so that our children, and I don't know if we have any of those parents yet, but as I said to Mr. Pavone and I, we may have strong feelings about how we feel about this school, but at the end of the day, we have to take care of every child. That's our job. Along with you, we're going to do this. We're going to do the right thing. So we're going to take in those 2 more kindergartens, so there'll be 4 kindergarten classes, 6 kindergarten classes, thank you, but we have the room. So we're going to take them in. Mr. Pavone, myself, along with the Deputy Chancellor, the District Planning team, we've looked at this. We can do this for a while. We can do this for 1 more year. So what I'm saying to you is, at this point, we do not have to worry about truncation. When we have to worry about truncation, it's going to be in, next phase here, 2016. March 2016, we'll be able to know how many kindergarten children are coming in for that year. So that would be our lever to say if we have to truncate. So at that point, if we have this influx of kindergarten children, we will then have to start to talk about truncation. Now, there are options. I want you to know there are always options, and that's what we get to talk about, some of the options. So at that point, we would look to see, and if we did, then we would begin this community engagement. So it would then start after March. We would come back and say that we have to truncate, and then we begin the process. And then, like I said, each and every one of those children, we just would not allow the school to go to 16 that year, but those children that are in the building would phase out. But we don't want that. Before I came down, Mr. Pavone showed me this wonderful movie that he made about our K-8 and the testimony of all the parents saying what a great spot. This is a place to be like Cheers. You know, everybody wants to be here. I get it, and that's a good thing. That says to me what a great school, what a great principal, what great teachers we have. We give these teachers a round of applause. So this is the deal. We are taking those 50 children in. We have 6 children left. So the win-win. What I was with Deputy Chancellor Rose, we talked for a while, and our new capital plan is coming out in about October, November. When that comes out, our intent is to put on that capital plan and we get another building here. And we need to build that building in a 3 to 5 year period. If we do that, win-win. You guys get this to K to 8, and we have another building that we can figure out how we're going to utilize it, whether it's going to be a K to 5 or another K to 8. That we'll see down the road. So I thank all of you, because without your movement, I don't know if we could have moved this now, but we did. I am very comfortable that comes October, November, when the capital plan comes out, we will have the money allocated to build the building. Now, transparent, you need the money, you need the space, you need the property, we have to find the place. So we need to start all of us together, looking around, where can we build a building? Where can we build a school? We need a space. So with that being said, I just want to let you know, we're all on the same page. Every single one of us wants our kindergarten children to have a place here, and we want everybody to have a school, and we don't want to give up our K to 8. We do not want to give up our K to 8. I hear that. So, Mrs. Van Bramer wanted to speak. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. It is great to be here at PSIS 78, and I want to thank Dr. Compasto for being here and convening this meeting. When I first started hearing from parents who were concerned, this was the first thing that we asked for. We wanted to have a community meeting so that everyone could have a chance to speak, and for the Department of Education to hear you, more importantly. So I thank Dr. Compasto and his team for doing that. I also want to thank Principal Pavone for his leadership of this school and all the teachers. The truth is, PSIS 78 is a great school, and that's why we love this school so much, and everyone wants to be here. So let's give a round of applause again to Principal Pavone and the teachers. And I want to thank the parents, all of you, those who have served in the PTA, all of you who wrote me letters, emails, called, stopped me on the street at the LIC Flea or any other place. As soon as I heard about the situation, I spoke to Mayor de Blasio's people and the Department of Education, and I believe, as does the Chancellor, that the young people of this community should be able to walk to their school for kindergarten, first grade, pre-K, that we should make the arrangement that Dr. Compasto just announced, which is that all of the children who are waitlisted are going to be able to go to this school next year. That's an important victory, certainly for all of those parents and all those families. At the same time, so that was the first thing that I said to the mayor's people at PS 78. All of those children must be able to go to school, because my heart is very deeply touched when a parent writes to me or calls my office, and I read every single one of those emails and letters, and I fight for every single person in my district, including those 3- and 4-year-olds who were being denied a seat in kindergarten. Now, having overcome that obstacle in the short term, I want you to also know that I have told the administration that in no way, shape, or form do I support truncation of PSIS 78. This is the true story. I was in a meeting at City Hall with Bill de Blasio, Mayor Bill de Blasio's intergovernmental people, talking about this very issue, when Matt Wallace, my chief of staff, sent me the email with the 1,000 petition signatures attached, and said, here's the petition. And I turned my phone and I gave it to the intergov people at Mayor de Blasio's office, and I said, here's the petition. Who should I deliver this to? How do I deliver this to you all? So I said then in that meeting, as I've said before, as I say tonight, I do not support truncation of this school at all, at any point. So I heard what Dr. Compasto said about we have to sort of worry about this next year, and I certainly respect his honesty and his leadership, but we can't let that happen, and I, as your council member, am going to fight to the very end to make sure that never happens. We've here, Principal Pavone, Dr. Campasto, all the elected officials, more importantly, you all, to make sure that we have a middle school here, and we're not going to give it up ever. Having said that, the next phase, which is what the administration and the Department of Education, the School Construction Authority, must be focused on, and I said this when we opened this school, that when we opened this school, that was not the end of building seats for this community, that we should have started right then and there in identifying the next location for another new school. So I look forward to the capital plan as well, and more school seats and more schools for Long Island City being included in it. But the truth is there are other opportunities, including developments that are planned all over this community that can and should include new schools in them. And we are certainly talking to some of those developers, including a conversation that we had today with Juan about including schools that hopefully could be done even more quickly than a brand new school being built on a lot in a 3 to 5 year plan, because we don't have 3 to 5 years. We need new schools now. I'm here today to tell you that I am engaged. I am fighting every single day. I do not walk into City Hall and have a conversation with Mayor de Blasio's team or Chancellor Farina, who I was at a cultural event at the Guggenheim last Thursday. P.S. IS-78, all of your children, both the ones who are 2, 3, and 4, the ones who are not yet with us, and the ones who are in the school now who desperately need 6, 7, and 8. I am never not fighting this fight. I was at the firehouse on Saturday and met a family, and I assured them that I am engaged 100% on this issue. I will not walk away from it. I love this school. We've had a great partnership in the 5.5 years that I've been a council member, and I think everybody here knows that we support this school in a million ways. With programming, with services, with funding, and as many of you know, there was a funding opportunity as part of our participatory budgeting, and we're announcing that on Wednesday. I'm not at liberty to disclose the results of that, but I want you to know that PSI-78 is going to do very, very well this year, better than it's ever done. And I hope you all come on Wednesday at LIC Bar. I think it's at 6 o'clock or 6:30. 6:30 as we announce the winners of participatory budgeting. But that too will demonstrate the power of this community and how strongly I feel about this school. So with that, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to represent you and your families in the New York City Council. Rest assured that I am fighting every single day. Mayor de Blasio has heard me loud and clear, echoing and amplifying what you say every single day. This community, the children of this community deserve to go to school in this community and stay in this community. So we've won already with the children being able to get into kindergarten next year, adding 2 more kindergarten classes, and we will fight like heck to make sure there is never truncation of this school, and we will keep the pressure on new schools built in this community as soon as possible. That's my pleasure. Thank you.
So that'll be in the other building. So thank you all for all that voting. I do want to thank Jimmy Van Bramer for being here tonight to talk about the possibility of new buildings. As I said to everybody, we do need more schools, and that is the answer to everything. So I wish that all of that happens down the road. I'm happy for the kindergarten, I'm happy for the pre-K, I'm happy for this middle school, and just to remind some of us who are new here, we fought for this middle school many years ago, and it came to fruition, and and we're all very proud of what we do here. I want to thank my staff that's here tonight and coming in abundance. Particularly thank our superintendent who has looked into this very, very seriously over the last few weeks. He is an amazing man. He's come to a conclusion that everybody can win tonight, and I'm all for that. So thank you all.
Okay, so that brings our meeting to a conclusion. I heard what Jimmy said, we just got to keep working to make sure that we get our school building, and then we're going to be that win-win that we spoke about. I want to thank you all, have a great trip home. Question? I'm sorry. We haven't worked that out. We're going to work that out. You want to know where the kindergarten children will be. I'm working with Mr. Pavone because we've got to do this smart. More than likely, we're going to try to put all our kindergartens together. Well, there and then there.
So I was here last year with my kindergartner. He's now in first grade. My concern is, 2 more kindergarten classes. How is that going to affect second grade and third grade? Because there are 31 kids.
So let me repeat that. We can sustain this for another year. After that, if we don't get our building, then we need to start to truncate. So that's not our goal here, is to get a building. But if we don't have a building, you're absolutely right, we can't. You all know that. We can't just keep taking extra children every year. But we're going to be okay this year. We're going to be okay. We do not have to begin this conversation about truncation. We can sustain it. Yes. Question?
I just need to be clear on this truncation point. So if you have a child in 5th grade next year,
Right.
and you're saying March is when you look at the kindergarten enrollment,
Right.
but I believe the 5th graders will have already needed to identify and register or apply for middle school. How do we play that game? Because that's the grade that's going to be affected. So I just need.
So if we're going to truncate, and that's why we said March, because if we're going to truncate, we're going to have all that information for you, then we're going to know if we have to, and then we're going to let the parents know that.
But what is the application for middle school?
So then they get to stay.
December 30th.
So you get to stay, because yours is the 5th grade. I like that. Because we're not going to do to the following year the truncation. So then your child will be in 6th grade. Once they're in 6th grade, we're not going to say 6th grade out. Then your child will get a chance to be a 7th, and then the 8th. Your child, if, that's a big if, right? If we do, then we will phase those children out. We are not going to say everybody out. 1 year at a time. So your child who's a 6th grader will say, okay, 5th graders, next year after that, go to middle school, 6th grade you stay, you become a 7th, and then 8th.
Okay.
No.
So this December, the application process happens for 5th graders.
So you're okay.
They're okay.
You're okay.
No, because of the.
Wait, let's clarify that because some people are saying that's not
How
okay.
long does it take to build a school? Because I'm trying,
That's a hard question. I mean,
I'm
listen,
trying to do the timing for the next grade.
and that's the pivotal question. That's the pivotal question. Let's all be honest. That's the pivotal. So we have to find out. I heard our counselors speak very strong that we're going to do this. So we just got to hold on. I can't give you that date. I don't know that.
And then, if that is effective, can we talk about the zoning of the middle school?
Absolutely. We're going to take care of all of that if the time comes for us to truncate. That's not our intent, right? Our intent is to keep this K to 8. That's the intent
I
here.
think the parents here felt like we've been in an emergency situation. In the way
And I'm sorry that happened. I do. And that's why I started this conversation about truncation. It's nothing that happens overnight. There's a process. There's a legal piece that we have to go through. And one of those pieces is that we have to engage the community. So we're going to follow the law. I promise you that. Any other questions? So one there and then you, okay? Say that again.
If there's a possibility of truncation,
Right.
what's the commitment to funding the middle school program? These 5th graders are rising next year to 6th grade. What's the commitment to that?
We are committed to finish this off professionally. So whenever we have our teachers are in place, the books, everything is in place. So we're going to finish it off very professional. In other words, those children will go through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade just like any other child going through PS 78. Am I answering the question? What makes it concerned? Listen, we have all the books. We have the pieces in place. Everything is in place. We don't want to get to that spot, but in the event that we do, those children, those 6th graders, will have a 6th grade experience. We move them to 7th and 8th, same thing. We're not going to take anything away from them.
The possibility of new programming, whether sports, arts, that we can develop in middle school. Are those going to still continue to develop?
We are going forward, that we're keeping this as K-8. That's what we're going to, as we start in September, we're K-8, and everything we do will be for K-8. Yes.
I just want to say, I think we said we have a win-win, but I think we have an accommodation of a problem that built up, and I think we have a non-middle answer to where we go. I have a question on, does the Department of Education have statistics on the number of parents that choose to move out of the city after K in 1st grade? And are we exacerbating the problem by over-accommodating something and then finding out that we've got no room for the rest of the grades for people who are going to remain tax-paying citizens of New York City?
So your question is, I'm going to ask my...
How many people are going to leave after kindergarten, 1st grade, be it one
So,
city or the city as a whole?
do we-
And are we going to then fill it up and have to find out, well, what another school didn't get built?
So what I heard, council said that we're going to work real hard to get a school built.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that we talked a lot about a win tonight, and it's a win and a commitment, or an almost commitment.
Fair. No, it's a commitment. It's a commitment.
And we are, at the moment, what we're calling a win, filling up a bunch of classrooms that no longer exist when we potentially don't have them. So I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I just want to express the gravity of the situation.
Your point is well taken. And like I said again, you're right. As I said to the parents, we cannot continue to take in an extra 50 kids every year, and then we get to the 8th grade, we're not going to have the room. We all know that. So,
I'm just saying a win-win is 3 to 5 years from now, and there's another school built, and everyone's got a seat to sit in.
right.
Now,
So
it's a good conversation.
we will know more when the capital plan comes out. That's where the rubber's going to hit the road. So we got to wait for that. Yes.
People in this room influence the capital.
How many? How do they? Right? Just what you're doing. Someone handed us a petition with 1,000 names on it. We've got this council member who's fighting for you. We have Kathy Nolan's office, Maloney's office here, Janaris' office here. Those are our people. The politicians who have been fighting the fight for you. That's why we're standing here now saying win-win. Because they represented you, all of them, and that's why we're in the good situation. Not perfect, but good. You have to speak loud, I'm sorry.
Everybody knew that the building was being built. Everybody knows how many people are coming in. Why does it take an emergency supervisor for them to act? Why can't you
Money. You know, they did do an analysis, because we've been asking for a building for several years. They did an analysis a few years ago, and it didn't show that it was going to be needed, but you're right. And I apologize. You're right. We're now going to clean it up. Fair.
Say something to that?
Sure.
I just have to address that particular issue. Because Dr. Capasso, with all due respect, he said it's a matter of money. It's not just about money. It's about planning, and it's about the Department of Education. And the School Construction Authority, having already years ago identified new sites for schools, not doing it now and today. I wasn't looking back, but whoever asked that question, that's exactly right. It's not just about money. There's billions and billions of dollars in the capital budget of the Department of Education. It's about a failure to act, and when this school opened, and they did whatever study they did, identifying no new need, that was the critical error that the department and the School Construction Authority made. It was when this school opened that they should have already identified other sites, and not just one. I remember meeting with DOE and saying at least 2 new elementary schools are needed, because you could see the growth. Everyone could see what that study didn't determine, and that's not Dr. Compasso's fault or Principal Pavone's fault, but that is folks at higher up in the DOE and SEA. That was the mistake. It's not about money, it's about good planning. They failed, and now we have to fix it.
Okay, but we're going to fix it.
Certain politicians that are basically in our favor. Going forward, we've heard from Mr. Van Bremer. Can we hear from the others and get a commitment that they're actually to 8, and they're not going to vote a different way? You're just saying their names is enough. I want to hear if they're going to...
Our representatives from any of our politicians, would you like to speak?
Hi there, my name is Jacob Trudrick. I represent Senator Mike Gianaris. Okay. I'm speaking right now on behalf of Senator Gianaris, Assemblywoman Kathy Nolan, and Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who could not be here today because they are at their respective capitals. Carolyn Maloney is in Washington, D.C., and Kathy Nolan and my boss, Senator Mike Gianaris, are in Albany. But rest assured, we are working hand in hand with Councilman Van Bramer. We are reading your emails as well. We are getting the same phone calls, and we are communicating those same concerns to the Department of Education. So we are here, we stand fully committed, excuse me, just one minute. We stand fully committed with you to communicate all of your concerns to the Department of Education, and I think Mr. Composto can attest to that.
I certainly can. All 4 of them have called the DOE and are working with us. Yes, they're behind us. We're going to be okay. I didn't say no spaces. We got to find the space. There's a lot of space. We got to find them.
I'm saying you have a brand new school with a campus in Metro Point South with a middle school and a high school.
Right.
Most of those kids communicate. Why don't you?
Well, in the event that we have to truncate, that is your middle school. We will put those children back. But at this point, we didn't need the middle school for us because we have a K-8. But in the event that we do, you're absolutely right. We will zone those children for our neighborhood children.
I just want to understand why you started K-8 and that.
No, that school was built as a middle school, and you have to understand, when we build these buildings, they're built differently when you go pre-K to 5 and when you go 6 to 8. So that is the middle school which we are using, and some of our community members are in there, so people have decided to go over to that. But in the event, that is our middle school. So that's 6, 7, and 8. Well, there's a high school in there, but high schools are different. High schools, you can apply to any high school in New York City and you can go to. It's not a zone piece. High schools are not zoned.
Sorry, so I heard you say something, I just want to make sure I have. So in the event of any sort of truncation, what you're saying here today is that the school and the high school, the middle school and the high school would be transferred to a zone school?
Not the high school.
No, the middle school within the high school.
Right, the middle school. Correct. No, it's not a zone because we didn't need to zone it. Right. But he's saying if we need to, will we? And the answer is yes. Ernie?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Jimmy was saying, I was on the community educational council when I started 10 years ago. And I would go, we have meetings with the school construction authority and say there's a demographic shift that's happening, it's going to explode here. And it was totally predictable. So that somebody wasn't doing their job, which was planning. But I have to say that the school planning issue is dwarfed by the general lack of planning in Long Island City. I've been here for many years. There's got to be planning. As long as real estate interests roll roughshod over all other interests. There's no planning for the schools, there's no planning for transportation. The streets are crowded, there's no planning for parking. Until all the people come together with city planning or whatever actually makes decisions about these things, we're going to have the same kind of plan on mid-court.
Thank you, Ernie.
I'm still not clear about something. I want to make sure.
Go ahead.
So I have somebody who's in 2nd grade.
Okay.
In this school, we're not in 6th grade when we get to this point where you're talking about the possibility of truncation.
Okay.
We won't have been able to build a new school by that time. And so does he have a seat or not?
So if we truncate, he'll always have a seat. Then that middle school, we're going to zone that. This would be a K to 5, and that'll be our 6, 7, and 8. So they would then go from here, articulate over to that school.
What school? Where is this?
Right over here, Hunters Point, the 340, the new high school.
It's a completely different school.
Yes, it's a different school. Pardon? No, it's a different principal. Middle schools and elementary schools have different principals.
So in other words, we're still going to have to commute our children to another location.
If
Who did it?
Okay, any other questions? So here we go. What does that mean?
It's 3 to 5 years to build.
Right.
So those of us who have fourth, third, and second graders, we have no guarantees right now.
That's a fair statement.
And it is at least 3 to 5 years, if not longer. But what about lease renovation? There are plenty of buildings going up here that have their first floors for commercial rent. And we have plenty of examples around the city, especially in Manhattan, where you lease the first couple of floors and renovate. So who?
So right here, could you write that down?
Is there anybody here from SCA tonight?
We're going to bring that back to the Deputy Chancellor. Lease renovation, that's what I heard?
Yes.
Okay.
I asked Deputy Chancellor Rose to come, but I didn't get any.
She was going to come, and she apologized that she couldn't make it, but I'm representing her, and I promise she will get that lease renovation. So if we do that, we can do it quickly, is what we're saying. There's an answer.
1 year.
1 year, so there you go. So starting with 2 more days, you're going to be hearing from us, and then tell them that they've been accepted back to 78.
And any of others accept online, the way you would have?
Were they accepted online? How do they do that?
No, we went to the school to register.
Bring them here?
Off the bed, how they're going to extend this.
No matter what, you should bring your child here to register. We always have to look at our children before we
We'll
register.
take care of you, but but I think if you prefer, we'll call you up so you can come in with an appointment, and you can bring everything you need, and then I'll work it out with the Department of Education, the timeline factor.
So when they come, do they go to the new building or do they go to the other building?
Go to the ECC building,
The ECC building.
the other building, and then we'll have something there for you. But we'll call you up with an appointment, and we'll go right through the list from top to bottom of the book.
Okay, good. Question?
Is petition the most effective way of influencing the capital plan? And second, if we say renovation is the route to go, will that affect building a new building?
Well, that's a good question. So that's something we got to take back. So they want to know if we do this lease renovation piece, will that affect the new building? So I heard the councilman say that we need a few buildings, right? So I guess it would depend on what property we're leasing, how many children it holds. All of that is part of the question. So once we know exactly if we do lease a piece, how many children can go into there, and then that'll also be a part of the thing. As far as the petition, yes, it does help. All of our wonderful politicians who are represented here tonight, they have been fighting about it. Every single one of them have been, and that's why we're here having this community meeting with a win-win feeling. Well, we have 2 more, I think, right? We put in 2 more also. How many total pre-K?
We now have 4.
4 pre-K. So we're going to have 4 pre-K. 18 going through. Starting when?
Yeah.
September.
Nobody needs to understand, but that's the mayor's, that's the...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I apologize. The win-win comes when we get our building. And I'm confident we're going to get a building. I met with the Deputy Chancellor, that she said it's putting it on the capital plan. That's what she said to me, so we go on the capital plan. So, first, once you get the money, you have to build the building. It takes a couple of years to build a building, you have some specs and all. But I also heard about some lease renovations I don't know about, so I'm just listening. So in 1 year, we can get something like that done?
I've done it in 18 months.
There you go.
Our original school is a lease renovation. I've done 2 of it up around behind the garden in 18 months. But we've got to divert money from the budget to do it by being loud enough to be heard. The squeaky wheel, we really got to keep the pressure up to get this done.
I'm going to ask this young lady first.
Us fifth graders, would we be able to, like, in the situation we have now, would we be able to be in 8th grade?
Yes, you will. 5th graders, you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you go. I guarantee that. So that's a good question. Will the ECC continue to be pre-K to 2. We're looking at that. We might have to pull the second grade over and do pre-K to 1. We haven't made that decision. We need to figure out exactly how many children, but we will make that decision and we'll inform the community within another month or so. We're working on it. By the end of May, beginning of June, we'll know exactly how many children and what we're going to do with that. And we promise to let you know that. Yes?
You say you're opening up, how many, 2 more kindergartens and 2 more pre-Ks?
Correct. Correct.
How many rooms are still left unavailable or not used in the other buildings? How many classrooms are
How many classrooms? After we use the 4 or before we use the 4?
Before, right now.
Right now, how many empty classrooms do you have is their question. In here. What? Oh, the ECC you're talking about in this building?
No, the ECC. No, that's why.
We're full in the ECC.
That's why the superintendent's saying there's a possibility to move one of the grades over.
Right, the ECC is full.
Most likely, that's the thought process, to keep the older children and to have the younger.
And then the second question to that is, how are we accommodating for such growth here even? I mean, I know that my children are having like lunch at like 10:30. Like, how are we gonna
We're going
make
to work
that
on
work?
the programming and scheduling throughout the next few weeks and over the summer. Yes. But you're right. It'll be more complicated. We're also working on the start time of the school and maybe move that a little bit later than what it was. And we're looking at it. But nothing's done yet. So, when you quote it correctly, nothing is done.
Yes, young lady. Nice and loud. Stand up again. Come on. Well, we're going to use all of those, I promise. And we never want to give up our after school because we want that for you guys. Yes. So there's a process here that you have to understand. Even, for example, we had a wait list. Some parents have dropped off that wait list. We've already had 8 or 9 people say we don't, we called them up and said, you know what, we're not taking that seat.
I just mean that the ongoing communication, for example, between real estate development and the school system, so that when you talk about getting a realistic number of children coming in and you're talking about 50 in the classroom, that's the hard number. We're in May, I can't imagine, I understand that the numbers are always much waiting list. However, I just know that there are more families coming in, not in March 2016. There will be more families who find out in September, October, November that they are now have an opportunity to move to the neighborhood. So I'm just wondering about the process of communication regarding the planning of getting into
Yeah.
Just how does this work?
I'll give Dr. Capasto a break for a second and try and address that. So let me say that the administration, Mayor de Blasio, yes, the DOE and the SCA, but also, quite frankly, city planning and the entire administration should be laser focused on school seats in Long Island City. And I say that because, to your point, the mayor, as you may know, with his city planning department, is proposing a fairly massive rezoning of significant portions of Long Island City, right? All of Jackson Avenue, Queens Plaza, parts of Court Square, and Northern Boulevard. I have certainly said to them, because at the end of the day, I would have to approve such a thing, right? We are not approving anything going forward unless there are new schools in those projects. And I've urged, Mayor de Blasio to come to Long Island City and to speak to you all as well about this. What I would say, though, in even the shorter term, which was also part of what you said, right? The idea floated before about investigating every single real estate option, whether it be a rental and a renovation. The administration of the school construction has got to be doing that already. And yes, speaking with developers who are both already awarded projects by the administration, not by me, let me just make that perfectly clear, as Hunters Point South. We certainly are putting as much pressure as we can on those developers to make sure there are schools in the ground floors of those buildings. And then going forward, whatever new developments are being proposed, and trust me, there are lots of new developments being proposed all over, and those folks come to our office if they need variances or approvals or modifications or changes. Those projects need approval. But there are some projects, as you know, that can build as of right and don't need any approvals from the city council, and so they are less likely to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But we are, trust me, in my office, operating out of this very urgent situation to make sure that the administration is feeling that same sense of urgency. It's not a matter of money. It really is not. The administration, School Construction Authority, has tons of money to build new schools, particularly for District 30, which is one of the most overcrowded throughout the entire district. They have seats lined up, and they need to continue to do that. So in the short term and the long term, they need to be focused on planning. There is a short-term solution, there are short-term solutions, and then there are the longer-term solutions. That's how we put pressure on the administration. City planning, which really wants to upzone significant portions of Long Island City, and they are moving on that already in their process, which is the city planning's process. Ultimately, that comes to me, but not for another year or so. But trust me, every single conversation I've had with Mayor de Blasio's team and all the city planning, school construction criteria, is talking about this very issue and the crisis that we saw years ago, but that they didn't act on. Now, everyone is in agreement that something has to be done before an even larger crisis looms, because you're right, the 2 new buildings at Hunters Point South will begin occupancy in the next couple of months. That's another 925 units that will be occupied. Some of those folks are going to have children, they're going to need to go to school as well.
That middle school won't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
The whole thing, no, absolutely.
Okay, so we're just going to take a few more questions, because I think we've all said the same thing. Yes?
As if this phasing out ends up happening and as new schools end up coming in, will we as a community be able to figure out some sort of a process to have some input on the new schools that are being built? So whether they're early education, whether they're middle school, and potentially for middle school, what the programming could be, because I know that this community was very involved. There were fewer of us when the middle school and the high school were built. We were asked lots of questions. They took they took our opinions on things, and then decisions were made, and those middle schools really have no influence from this community. Well, the middle school that was built in Hunters Point South as well as the high school. And I understand, we didn't have a lot of children at that time. This time, will we be able to participate in that process?
So every time you have a right to participate, we held community meetings for those too. Maybe not as many people showed up and had the strong voice, but like this one, we had a very strong voice. So yes, the answer is yes. Community input is a part of the whole process for us as we open up schools.
Is there a way it can be a larger part than it was historically over there? Because we had a pretty significant voice, but given the situation, we try and make sure that I mean, I know you might not be able to answer me. I'm just doing this.
So we hold these community meetings. What we'll do is we're going to say we're going to open up a school. We call it the community meeting. At that point, you would come, express your concerns, and they'll be noted. Yes.
Now, the fact that the city did not require and stop even bringing the grounds of Hunters Point South requesting and mandating another pre-K to 8 years is the only logic. Even back 8 years, this is not some tsunami that happened with surprises. So, opinion. Now, that's I read these statements in detail, 34 pages, and I'll email them to everybody. These numbers were strange, the number they included were strange. They tried to move some stores in some schools in the story. They made a circle, mile and a half, just to make it look better for this neighborhood. And it still is very bad. 1,500 seats for pre-K, 2,000 seats for middle school. So, is there a way that we can make a city or urban planning department, whoever is doing this, we're trying for a couple of days to find out who are people who make this environmental impact statement, which is important. Is it possible to just request, politely revise the statement? Many things happen in 8 years. Do not believe this neighborhood is exploding even more than we expected.
So I'm going to throw that ball to Councilman Van Bramer because he will be able to answer that better than me.
And one more thing I will ask, is it possible to also involve other factors that are influencing, which is not involved in this analysis, such as carbon footprint, how much do we congest the traffic if 3,000 to 4,000 people are driving around the city, how much health hazards are being influenced on our kids, because these are causing a lot of cancer in children. Driving them around, I think it's much cheaper to build a school that deal with all these consequences. We need to think long term. How much gas are we spending? How much are we destroying the environment? How much are we destroying the climate? We are trying to be a greener city. This neighborhood can be bright example in the entire United States, not only New York City, where kids, my kids, never drive a car. School, art school, music school, sports, swimming, tennis, everything around here. This is a dream come true neighborhood, and we should keep it that way. But at least 2 more or even 3 more schools. How do you know what's the number? We need new environmental impact study to include city hall building up to Queens Plaza, everything. So we don't find ourselves in a similar situation. Parents will love living in the city, love bringing up new, modern, smart children, healthy children, and stay in the city. This is a trend that hasn't been factored in 10 years ago. We want to stay here. I have big children who's 79 years old. I want to raise them here. I don't want to be in suburbs. I don't want to be in university. We got all
So first I want to thank Dr. Gumpasto for giving me the easy questions. Threw this one to me with lightning speed. And thank you very much. There was a lot there. Let me try and adjust a few things. Number one, you're right. The Hunters Point South requirements were set by HPD and the administration without our involvement, and they chose the winners of those developments based on criteria that they set. In fact, I was very unhappy about some of the decisions that were made at Hunters Point South, but that decision and that port planning actually rests with the prior administration who made those decisions on Hunters Point South. What we can do is what you suggest, is make sure that going forward, the environmental impact of all of this development is reassessed, and the administration, this city planning, is doing the right thing. So I couldn't agree, and I think there was a shot at the state of New Jersey in there as well, so let me say I embrace that as well. But I do want to say we understand the absolute emergency, crisis, whatever you want to call it, that exists now, and all we can do now is focus this administration, all of this administration, and trust me, several agencies have Long Island City so much in their sights, right? They are all focused on Long Island City. For other reasons, our job is all of us to get them focused on the right things, which is your children and your families, making sure that this neighborhood remains this amazing place where everyone wants to stay. Years ago, folks thought that no one was going to stay. Everyone wants to stay now, and the administration needs to do right by all of you. I am elected by this community, the people I represent. The mayor obviously represents the entire city of New York. My job is to make sure that he's the mayor of Long Island City too.
I'm going to take one one last question, and then anybody who wants has a burning question, I'm going to stay around. Last question. Go ahead. Library.
Does that consider to build a school there?
So, the question is about the Hunters Point Library. Would you like to take it? No, I didn't think so. So a couple of things. Number one, the library is breaking ground formally and officially on May 16th, Saturday, May 16th. The city will break ground on our new library. And that deal with the, not developer, but with the Queens West Development Corporation was made 15 years ago. It took 15 years, and I want to say a lot of fighting and funding on my part to get us to this place where it will finally happen. And I can remember going to PS 78 and having the children in PS 78 implore me to make sure that they had a state-of-the-art public library across the street from their school. And that's a commitment that I have kept and fulfilled. So I can't say, and as you know, I'm the council member since January of 2010. All of the negotiations and dealing that went on before then in terms of that site being selected for the library and whether or not it was ever thought of as a school. But by the time I came along as a council member, it certainly had already been determined and cited, and I do believe that we need a state-of-the-art library for this community. It is an addition to the education of all of the children in this community, and you cannot have a neighborhood anywhere, especially not here, without a state-of-the-art, full-service public library. I believe that is all of
And I'm just curious, I was curious the fact that it's been sitting there for so long and it hasn't been groundbreaking. We thought about thinking, well, you know what, since it is an emergency, why don't we use that space for
The city of New York has actually never had full control of that property. As you may probably know, some of you, the history of it is actually state land owned by the Queens West Development Corporation and the Empire State Development Corporation. It was the most complicated land deal in the history of land deals, right? It was very, very difficult to get to where we are. I just want to say this, and I believe this very, very much in my heart of hearts. We should not, as a community, and you all should not be in the position of saying we can either have a school or a public library. You are too good and deserve too much. I have to say we want one or the other. We can have it all here. We're in agreement, right? We're preaching to the choir, but we can have it all. Your children deserve both a brand new state-of-the-art school and that library. And we're going to get it, and I'm going to make sure it happens. So I just want to say that.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. Have a good round.